Have you ever reacted impulsively, only to regret it later? What if I told you that the power to control your emotions and master your reactions is within your grasp? Many of us spend our time reacting to external events, feeling as though we have no control over our emotions. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that true power lies in understanding the difference between what we can control and what we can't. This simple yet profound principle is the first step in mastering our emotional responses. The Stoic philosopher reminds us that we cannot control other people's actions, the weather, or even the thoughts that pop into our heads, but we always have control over how we respond to those things. Imagine a situation where something stressful happens. Maybe a colleague criticizes your work, or you get stuck in traffic. These events might stir up anger, frustration, or anxiety. However, by recognizing that we can't control these external circumstances, we free ourselves from the emotional charge they bring. Instead of getting lost in frustration, we can focus on our reaction, which is the one thing we do have control over. When we stop trying to control everything around us, we begin to notice that our emotional turmoil decreases. By letting go of the need to control the uncontrollable, we find ourselves responding in a calm, composed manner, regardless of the situation. This shift in mindset doesn't make us passive or indifferent to what happens around us. It simply means we become more intentional with how we channel our energy, attention, and emotional responses. By embracing the Stoic principle of focusing on what's in our control, we learn to act from a place of clarity and purpose, rather than being at the mercy of external circumstances. This is how we take back our power, one decision at a time. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but Marcus Aurelius reminds us that they are not who we are. In his writings, he explains that emotions are fleeting. They come and go, like the waves of the sea. When we get caught up in them, we often start to believe that they define us. But what if we could observe our emotions without letting them control us? That's where the power of detachment comes in. Think about a time when you felt anger, sadness, or frustration. In that moment, it may have felt like those emotions were consuming you, dictating your actions and thoughts. But the truth is, emotions don't define your character or your identity. They are simply temporary responses to events, and they can be observed from a place of neutrality. By acknowledging that our emotions are transient, we stop attaching our self-worth or identity to them. When we experience anger, for example, we can remind ourselves, this anger is a passing feeling. It's not who I am. This detachment allows us to regain control. Instead of reacting impulsively, we create space between the emotion and our action, allowing us to respond with intention and wisdom. The more we practice observing our emotions without identifying with them, the more freedom we gain. We begin to realize that we don't have to be ruled by every emotional wave that passes through us. Instead, we become more grounded, steady, and deliberate in our responses to life's challenges. It's not about suppressing our feelings, but about recognizing that they don't own us. When we detach from them, we regain the power to choose how we respond, without being swept away by temporary emotions. We've all experienced moments where we react impulsively, without thinking, and then regret our actions later. Marcus Aurelius teaches us the difference between reacting and responding, and it's a powerful distinction that can change how we handle any situation. Reactions are automatic, driven by emotion, often leading to outcomes we don't want. Responses, on the other hand, are intentional and thoughtful, shaped by our values and rational thinking. Imagine a situation where someone says something hurtful to you. Your immediate reaction might be anger or defensiveness, but in that moment, if you can pause and take a breath before responding, you create space for clarity. This pause is the key. It allows you to step outside of the immediate emotional reaction and consider the best way to respond, rather than simply reacting out of hurt or frustration. When you respond, you're taking control of the situation instead of allowing your emotions to dictate the course of action. Instead of firing back with harsh words or acting impulsively, you take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture. You ask yourself questions like, what is my goal here? What kind of person do I want to be in this situation? When you respond thoughtfully, you are aligning your actions with your values, and you're more likely to achieve a positive outcome rather than contributing to the emotional escalation of the situation. This principle can be applied in everyday life, whether it's a heated argument, a stressful work situation, or even when facing personal challenges. Every time you catch yourself about to react, remind yourself, I have the power to choose how I respond. By making this choice, you transform potential conflict into an opportunity for growth and understanding. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to remain calm and deliberate in all situations, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. In moments of stress, it's easy to let emotions take the wheel and drive us toward impulsive actions. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that, when faced with difficult situations, we should always prioritize rationality over impulsivity. This principle is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and one that can be incredibly empowering in our daily lives. When we experience a surge of emotion, whether it's anger, fear, or anxiety, our first instinct is often to act quickly. We might snap at someone, make hasty decisions, or allow fear to dictate our actions. But by embracing rationality, we take a step back and give ourselves the time and space to think logically. Instead of rushing to react, we use reason to guide our actions. Rationality doesn't mean suppressing our emotions or ignoring them. It means recognizing our feelings, understanding where they're coming from, and then choosing how to respond in a way that serves our long-term goals. When we act impulsively, we often make decisions that we later regret. But when we choose to pause, reflect, and act from a place of reason, we make decisions that are aligned with our values and our bigger picture. Take, for example, a challenging situation at work. Maybe a colleague criticizes your performance. Your immediate emotional reaction might be to feel defensive or angry, but instead of reacting in that moment, you take a deep breath and allow yourself the time to process the situation logically. You might ask yourself, is there truth in this criticism? How can I improve moving forward? By responding in this rational way, you avoid making rash decisions based on emotional impulses and instead focus on growth and learning. The power of rationality lies in its ability to help us make better choices. By consistently choosing logic over emotional reaction, we train ourselves to approach life's challenges with wisdom and clarity. This practice doesn't just help us avoid impulsive decisions. It strengthens our ability to navigate any situation with confidence and composure. Life is full of challenges, and how we respond to them can define who we become. Marcus Aurelius understood that adversity isn't something to fear or avoid. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity for growth. The Stoic philosophy teaches that challenges are an essential part of life, and it is through overcoming them that we develop strength, wisdom, and resilience. When we reframe the way we view difficulty, we can approach it not with frustration, but with gratitude and determination. Think about a difficult situation you've encountered, perhaps a personal setback, a failure, or a problem that seemed insurmountable at first. When these things happen, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeing them as obstacles that are standing in our way. We might feel helpless, frustrated, or even defeated. But what if we changed our perspective? What if, instead of seeing adversity as something bad, we saw it as an opportunity to become better? Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that obstacles were simply the material from which to build his character. If you want to grow stronger, you have to face resistance. If you want to improve your skills, you have to struggle through failure. It's through these very challenges that we sharpen our minds and build our emotional resilience. Without them, we would never truly progress. Imagine you're facing a difficult project at work or a personal challenge. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or defeated, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? By shifting your focus from the problem itself to the lesson or growth opportunity it presents, you can begin to see every challenge as a chance to improve. Every difficulty becomes a stepping stone, not an obstacle. This mindset shift can completely transform how you approach life's hardships. By embracing adversity with the understanding that it leads to personal growth, you stop resisting life's challenges. Instead, you face them with courage, knowing that they are an essential part of your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. When you welcome difficulty as a chance for growth, you begin to thrive, not just survive, through the hardships life throws your way. One of the most powerful practices Marcus Aurelius embraced was daily reflection. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of daily life, moving from one task to the next, without pausing to reflect on our thoughts, actions, and progress. But taking time each day to reflect is a practice that can transform how we approach our emotions, our decisions, and our overall life direction. Reflection allows us to step back from the noise of the world and reconnect with our true selves. It helps us evaluate whether we've lived in accordance with our values and if we've made choices that align with the person we want to be. Without reflection, we often move through life unconsciously, reacting to situations without understanding why we behave the way we do. But when we make time for daily reflection, we gain insight into our thought patterns and behaviors, helping us make more intentional decisions moving forward. Each day, Marcus Aurelius would ask himself questions like, did I act in a way that aligns with my virtues? Where did I fall short? How can I improve tomorrow? These questions aren't about self-criticism or judgment. They're about self-awareness and growth. Reflection helps us notice areas where we've reacted impulsively or let emotions guide our actions, so we can adjust and do better the next time. Through this process, we learn to observe ourselves without judgment. We become aware of how external circumstances affect our emotions and decisions, and we gain control over them. The more we reflect, the more we begin to see patterns in our behavior, and the more we can choose to break free from automatic reactions. By incorporating daily reflection into our lives, we not only become more self-aware, but we also begin to shape our future with intention. Instead of letting life pass by, we actively engage with it, making choices that reflect our deeper goals. In moments of emotional upheaval or stress, the practice of reflection allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. It's a tool for continuous growth and alignment, ensuring that every day becomes a step toward the person we aspire to be. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the need for external validation. Social media, society's expectations, and even the people around us often make us feel like we need approval or recognition to feel worthy. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us a powerful lesson. True fulfillment doesn't come from seeking validation outside of ourselves. It comes from within. The Stoic principle of focusing on internal progress rather than external approval is essential to mastering our emotions and our reactions to the world around us. When we rely on others' opinions or approval to determine our self-worth, we hand over our power. If someone praises us, we feel good. If they criticize us, we feel bad. This constant cycle of seeking validation creates a roller coaster of emotions, and it becomes difficult to feel stable or at peace. But when we shift our focus from external praise to internal growth, we take back control. We stop living for others' approval and start living according to our own values and principles. Marcus Aurelius understood that no one else truly knows what's best for us except for ourselves. He would often remind himself that the only thing within his control was his own thoughts, actions, and decisions. Whether others praised or criticized him didn't matter, as long as he stayed true to his purpose and principles. This mindset allows us to build a sense of self-worth that isn't dependent on external circumstances. When we stop seeking validation from others, we free ourselves from the emotional ups and downs that come with it. Instead of looking to others to feel good about ourselves, we focus on our own progress. We ask ourselves, am I doing what's right? Am I staying true to my values? Am I growing each day? This internal focus shifts the emphasis from external factors we can't control to internal factors we have full command over. And that's where true empowerment lies. By embracing this Stoic principle, we learn to detach from the need for approval. We start to value our own growth and progress above all else. This allows us to become more resilient, confident, and centered, no matter what others think or say. When we stop living for validation and start living for our own personal development, we find the freedom and peace we've been seeking all along. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of perfection. We set high standards for ourselves and wait for the perfect moment to act. We spend hours planning, strategizing, and overthinking, hoping for everything to align perfectly before we take the next step. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us a crucial lesson. Waiting for perfection is a trap. The key to progress is taking action, even if it's imperfect. Perfectionism often stems from a fear of failure or a desire for approval. We fear that if we don't do something flawlessly, we'll be judged or fall short of our own expectations. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. No matter how much time we spend perfecting something, there will always be an element of uncertainty, and there will always be room for improvement. The real growth comes from action, not from waiting for everything to be just right. Marcus Aurelius believed that doing our best in any given moment, with whatever resources we have, is what truly matters. Instead of obsessing over making everything perfect, we should focus on making progress. Every step forward, no matter how small or imperfect, is a step toward our goals. When we take consistent action, we learn, adapt, and improve along the way. Think about a project you've been putting off because you want everything to be perfect. Maybe you've hesitated because you're worried about making mistakes. But the reality is, if you never take that first imperfect step, you'll never move forward. By focusing on progress rather than perfection, you allow yourself to learn and grow through experience. Each mistake or failure becomes an opportunity to refine your approach and get closer to your goal. This mindset shift is incredibly liberating. Instead of getting bogged down by the need to do everything perfectly, you give yourself permission to act, to experiment, and to evolve. You stop letting perfectionism hold you back and start making strides toward the life you want to create. By taking action, even imperfect action, you build momentum, and eventually, the perfection you seek will come through consistent effort and learning. The key is not to wait for the perfect moment, but to create progress by taking action now. In the chaos of everyday life, it's easy to get distracted by all the things we think we need to do, or all the external pressures we face. But one of the most profound lessons Marcus Aurelius offers is the importance of staying present and focusing on the moment at hand. Too often, we spend our time worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, but neither of those things are in our control. The present moment is where true power lies, and by focusing on it, we gain the clarity and calm we need to navigate life's challenges. When we're caught up in the past, we replay old conversations, mistakes, or regrets. We might dwell on things we can't change, which only leads to frustration and a sense of helplessness. Similarly, when we focus too much on the future, we get anxious, worrying about what could go wrong or what we might miss out on. This constant preoccupation with things outside of our control drains our energy and makes it difficult to stay grounded in the present. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that the only moment that truly matters is the one we're living in right now. But when we set our sights on something meaningful, self-discipline becomes the bridge that takes us from where we are to where we want to be. Marcus Aurelius knew that the journey toward personal growth and fulfillment requires constant effort. It's not about achieving perfection. It's about making small, consistent decisions every day that move us closer to our goals. Self-discipline means making the tough choices in the moment, whether that's saying no to distractions, resisting the urge to procrastinate, or sticking to our routines even when it feels uncomfortable. One of the most challenging aspects of self-discipline is dealing with the discomfort that comes with delayed gratification. In the short term, it may seem easier to give in to instant pleasures, but in the long term, those fleeting satisfactions often lead to regret. Practicing self-discipline means choosing long-term rewards over short-term pleasures. It means putting in the work now for the promise of a better tomorrow. Self-discipline is also about consistency. It's not about being perfect all the time, but about showing up every day and doing the work, even when we don't feel like it. Small actions, repeated consistently, compound over time and lead to significant progress. Whether it's exercising regularly, staying focused on our work, or sticking to our goals, self-discipline is the habit that creates the foundation for success. By building self-discipline into our lives, we create a sense of control and mastery over our choices. We stop reacting to external circumstances and start creating the life we truly desire. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we are in control of our actions, and it's through consistent effort and self-discipline that we can shape our future. It's not about willpower alone. It's about creating habits, making intentional choices, and aligning our actions with our long-term goals. By staying present, we stop worrying about what's already happened or what might happen, and instead give our full attention to the task at hand. This presence of mind helps us make better decisions, reduce stress, and maintain focus, even when life is throwing multiple challenges at us. To practice this, we need to learn how to be fully engaged in whatever we're doing, no matter how big or small the task is. Whether it's working on a project, spending time with loved ones, or simply enjoying a moment of quiet, we must learn to focus all our attention on the present experience. When we do this, we not only experience life more fully, but we also gain a sense of control over our actions and reactions. Staying present also involves practicing gratitude for what's happening right now. Instead of wishing for things to be different or constantly striving for more, we can find joy in the simple moments of life. This mindset shift helps us appreciate the journey, not just the destination. By embracing the present, we can navigate life with greater resilience, mindfulness, and peace, knowing that this is where our true power lies. One of the most powerful concepts Marcus Aurelius teaches us is the importance of self-discipline. In a world filled with distractions, temptations, and the constant pull toward immediate gratification, self-discipline is the key to long-term success and fulfillment. It's the ability to control our impulses, delay gratification, and stay focused on what truly matters, even when it's difficult. Self-discipline starts with setting clear intentions and goals. Without a defined purpose, it's easy to fall into the trap of reacting to life's circumstances rather than actively creating the life we want. When we don't have a strong sense of direction, we become more susceptible to distractions, whether it's social media, procrastination, or unhealthy habits.